Dokerus do. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the Oosh Bros Podcast. We're at episode number 11, and they just keep rolling. The hits keep coming. It's your boy, BB Malloy, joined, as always, by the one and only
Jamie
Louis
from Joe Rogan Podcast. That's me. Yeah.
Jamie, pull up two incredibly handsome geezers and have them host a podcast.
Damn, Jamie, that was quick, JMO.
So some weird happenings this week, straight off the bat. There's been some good stuff, obviously. Thanksgiving in the States has given us a whole new slew of memes to go through. People getting together with their families and the hilarity ensues.
Yeah.
We are, at the time this podcast comes out, we will be exactly 3 weeks away from Christmas. There will be an episode on Christmas Day because we'll be recording it on the Sunday previous or the Monday previous. And yeah, we're not expecting a huge amount of turnover for that, but if you get sick of the friends and whānau and you just feel like hanging out with your boys on the Oosh Brothers Podcast, there will be a Christmas Day episode, an extra special episode, just for the good people who listen to our podcast.
Sweet.
Straight off the bat, there's a couple of things that I wanted to dive straight into. Nose first. First thing is they revealed a statue of Harry Kane.
No pleasantries?
No pleasantries? What do you mean? Oh, are we...
Oh, not the...
I'm
how's
sorry.
it going, man? I'll go fuck
well, I mean, we
myself
saw
then.
each other yesterday, so it's kind of... Yeah, no, you're right. Louis, how are you?
Well, I heard about this Harry Kane statue. No, we're all good, dude. Had a dental appointment this morning. I've got a clean booked for next Feb because it's going to be $210, so I'll leave it until after Christmas.
Good God.
Yeah, just the usual, just gaming. Just the usual. I'm tired. It's just I just want it to be over. I just want all the busyness to be finished so I can go back to doing nothing or very minimal.
That's a fair shout, man.
Yeah.
I'm very much in the same boat. Work is starting to wind down now. People are becoming less and less invested, especially coming this close to Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky in the position that I'm in because in my line of work, there's a lot of people who decide that December is not a time to be in the office. So
Yeah.
a lot of people save up their holiday and they just take all of December off, which leaves me in a very good position because there's a lot of people who just straight up don't post tickets in the month of December. So I'm kind of happy. My IT job starts to slow down. Things start to become less stressful. Christmas time's always great. I love Christmas time. People are a lot more cheerful, a lot more happy to be around.
Yeah.
Obviously there's quite a few people who don't have a lot of family and other bits and pieces over Christmas, so it's always nice to extend a smile and a wave and whatever else. There's a lot of people that obviously others wish could be here around this time of year, so it's always good to make sure that you're checking in on friends and kind to strangers. It's goodwill to all men. Like whether you're religious or not, Christmas time is a time for happiness. And as a non-secular religious person, a person who doesn't believe in organized religion but goes for more philosophical religion, I tend to try and make sure that I'm the best positive version of myself around this time of year because you just don't know what people are going through.
100%.
But outside of that, man, I've been killing it. I've been loving it. I have just been told that I've got a gig this Friday. The council's paying me like $300 to play like 35 minutes of music with my acoustic guitar.
Sweet.
It's dope. We've been given the option to potentially open for the D4 and Head Like a Hole, so I'm just waiting for that email to come back.
Please.
Please. There's a guy. Oh, bro, honestly, I'm manifesting. That's going to be crazy if it happens.
I don't care.
And then the Summer Hummer's the very next day.
I don't care about Head Like a Hole. Their documentary was sad.
Oh, that documentary wasn't great. Yeah,
sad. It was disappointing.
Like,
it was like they're all just a bunch of druggies that were making pretty average New Zealand rock music. The fact that they got a documentary and the D4 didn't is just awful. So
Yeah, no, I get that. I
yeah,
mean, like I met Booger Beasley after Iron Maiden, and he's a real stand up guy. Like I didn't have any issues with him personally. I do fuck with some Head Like a Hole songs, pretty heavy. Like in terms of New Zealand underground rock, those boys slap. The documentary was shithouse, but that doesn't mean the band's shithouse as such. Like
oh yeah, well, I'm pretty elitist. I'll be
it's
real when it comes to
Oh
my
no, I get
tunes.
that. Like if it's rock, it has to be rock. But it's yeah. Outside of that, look, it's not a yes. It's not a yes yet.
Fuck a better
We're
bit.
waiting to hear back. I'm just very excited for that possibility. We've got another gig coming up in January, a local one here at the skate park, which would be pretty cool. We're getting paid for that. And then yeah, February we could have those two back-to-back gigs, and then potentially something in March before you and I bugger off to the US of K's, my guy. Outside of that, just lots of retail therapy, lots of Christmas shopping,
Yeah.
finding myself a few trinkets and other bits and pieces. For those of you who can't see because we're not recording video at this stage, I brought myself a little retro handheld game, an R36S, which is, everyone would have seen them all over Facebook. Don't buy them from the Facebook ads where they're retailing for 120. Buy them off AliExpress. It was here in less than 2 weeks, or less than a week, sorry. It's an amazing condition, and it comes with incredible games. They're not paying me to do this or anything. I've never had a handheld console tickle my pickle the way that the R36S does. So if you're in the market for something like that, and it plays everything up to like PSP, so like PlayStation 1 games are in there, Sega Mega Drive games are in there, and it just slaps. It's got headphone capabilities, it's got SD cards so you can update your OS, all that shit. It's fucking dope.
Oosh.
Dive in. Get it for Christmas. Like I've got my kids one each for Christmas. Obviously I'm a bit safe here because none of them will listen to this podcast. If they do, please turn the fucking podcast off, child of mine.
Go to bed. I don't care if it's 11
Go to
a.m.
bed.
Go to bed.
Outside of that, current events. So we started off talking about the Harry Kane statue. It's pretty bad, man.
I haven't seen
It's
it.
pretty bad.
I mean, I've seen the last terrible statue I saw was Dwayne Wade's statue, and that was pretty bad.
Yeah, no, Dwayne Wade's statue was bad.
I haven't seen it. A decent statue was Michael Kaluuya's. I'm not sure if that's his name. He was in Get Out and Nope, and he was also in one of the best episodes of Black Mirror back in the day.
Yeah, well, he was one of the tribesmen in both of the Black Panther movies as well. Like he's very
I think it's
well
Michael Kaluuya. But yeah, so he got a mean ass statue, and there's like a what is it? There's like a kind of a park area where they have a lot of statues dedicated to British TV and movie characters. I believe David Tennant has one with Doctor Who. But yeah, I haven't seen Harry Kane's one.
It's of him sitting down, holding a football in an England shirt. They've got most of the features correct, except the chin is very Crimson Chin-esque, and the eyes look very 100-yard stare.
Right.
Yeah, it's not great. Straight off the bat, it's not great. But all things considered, having a statue is no small feat. Like it's pretty cool. It's outside the Peter May Centre in London. Was unveiled on November the 18th. So I reckon that might be worth a visit, even if it's just to make fun of it. Personally,
I actually did have. I reckon we could even catch while we're over there, maybe a Stormzy or a JME gig while we're over there.
oh, dude, if we could, that'd be more than ideal.
I'd be well keen for a JME gig. That guy goes so fucking hard.
Oh yeah. In the spirit of this isn't the first time a bad statue has graced the outside of a stadium. Obviously, Dwayne Wade's one
Pretty bad.
is pretty bad. Yeah, the beard doesn't look very good. It makes him look like he's 105 years old. The Cristiano Ronaldo statue at the Madeira airport.
That's classic.
Also, yeah, it's a small face on a big head, and they messed up his trim. And
Yeah.
my boy looks like he's been hitting the glass barbecue just a few too many times.
Yeah.
But yeah, so another one to add to the history books. The Harry Kane one's not terrible. It just doesn't look a lot like Harry Kane.
Which is a disservice to Harry Kane because he's banging him in at Bayern Munich this year, and we could see Harry Kane win his first trophy this season because I believe they're currently 6 points ahead in the Bundesliga. So I'm hoping.
Oh, look! If you were to go to any club to win a trophy, it would be Bayern Munich. That's like it's almost a sure thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, last season was a little bit of a conundrum because they didn't manage to win anything. The Tottenham curse apparently followed Harry Kane to Bayern Munich.
But we are seeing the downfall, aren't we? There was another loss this morning to Man City, which was fantastic. Even though it was against Liverpool.
Oh yeah.
Which is rude because now I think they're like 9 points clear at the top of the table.
I don't like that.
But I'll let it slide just because they beat Man City and handed Pep his sixth loss. And during the game, he was seen holding up six towards the crowd because I won 6 Premier League titles against you guys. And it's like, but you spent more than anyone else, so you kind of have to.
It's oil money, and they've got all of those charges, which means some of those titles might be stripped anyway.
It's just Pep Guardiola doing what Pep Guardiola
I'm enjoying
does.
the downfall.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Arne Slot's Liverpool are actually doing really well, and I'm not a fan of that at all.
We got the wrong ball,
It's the only time in history where I'm actually pulling for Arsenal to make a comeback and potentially win the league for the first time since 2004. Yeah.
We got the wrong ball, dude, out of the Netherlands, I think.
We really did.
But I mean, 4-0 win this morning. Ruben Amorim gets his first Premier League win by a margin of 4-0, which is something Erik ten Hag never did. I don't think he ever won a league game by a 4-goal margin, which is kind of crazy given the talent he had for multiple seasons.
Oh look, for Ruben Amorim to put trust in Joshua Zirkzee and for him to come out and bang in a brace.
I watched the goals too.
Fantastic.
What a game.
Yeah, and it's Marcus Rashford's back on his bullshit. I'm not going to sit here and say that Manchester United are back because every time I reinvest a large amount of faith and I go, we're back in the top half of the table, we're going for a Champions League spot, blah 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 blah. Something happens and we tank, and it hurts to watch. For the last 10 years, it's been really hard to be a United fan. Outside of a few trophies and glory moments, it's been really hard to be a United fan. But obviously we stick through the boys thick and thin. I'm United till I die. That's just how it is.
I'll say it, Man United are back.
You're going to say it?
Yeah, Man United are back. It's only been 3 games, I believe, under Ruben Amorim, but we had a pretty tense draw with Ipswich Town, but it was I'm not going to take anything away from it. That was a pretty rough match given that Ipswich Town, Ipswich are like this year's Luton Town where I just think they're going to just kind of not give up until the very end, very much like Blackpool in the 2009 season. A good 3-2 home win against I think Glimt in the Europa League. But that's 3 it was a good one because our previous managers they would have just down tools if we were 2-1 down at home.
Exactly.
But Ruben Amorim said no, and then a 4-0 win at home to Everton, who hadn't actually lost in 9 games up until that point, and had only conceded 4 goals in that time. So, just saying, the boys are back in town. Shout out Thin Lizzy.
I'm not in a position to argue. Obviously, I want this more than a lot of people want this, but I'm still going to keep my cards close to my chest, I think.
Wearing them on my sleeve.
In terms of... Look, I'll be real. The big test is going to be on Thursday. So 9:15 Thursday morning, we're up against Arsenal.
I could watch
I'm
that
going to
game.
have to find an illegal stream because I am not paying $50 a month for Sky Sport.
I'll be watching it at work.
Although the next 3 games are at pretty reasonable times, and I could get up and watch a couple of these. So, and it's all over the course of December as well. So we've got obviously Arsenal this week.
Yeah.
On Sunday, Nottingham Forest at 6:30 in the morning. At 5:30 the week after. On Monday at 5:30. 3 o'clock against Bournemouth as a write-off. 6:30 v Wolves and 9 o'clock v Newcastle. I mean, if I bought the subscription now, I might be able to stretch it out to January 6th and get myself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games.
Yeah.
Not a bad shout. Yeah, I just don't know. Like, I can never find a reliable service that isn't going to like send me a bunch of malware and ads and stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of like a nice cheeky illegal Reddit stream, but you know, hopefully I can figure something out. But yeah, Arsenal versus Man United at Emirates. Arsenal away is probably going to be the great equaliser to see if Amorim is playing some modern football and taking it to the boys. Yeah, and then scrolling further and further down, obviously I'm looking at the very lush Manchester derby on my birthday, on my 30th birthday, which we will be in the stands for.
We'll be there. We'll be there.
Oh, bro, I'm beyond stoked for this. Like, look, there is still the option that we could find ourselves in Newcastle on Saturday the 12th at St James's Park. That could be a thing as well, but I don't want to push it. You know, we're going to go and see my beloved AC Milan versus Fiorentina as well. It's gonna be a big trip. It's gonna be a big couple of weeks. But
yeah,
you know, we're holding our cards close to our chest.
But let's bog that off because we don't want it to fall into another discussion of what we're going to do.
Oh, no, we always become entrenched. And
Yeah.
it's okay to be excited, but the people aren't here for that. The people are here for the goodness.
Yeah.
Catching up on some previous stories. So the cryptocurrency entrepreneur who bought the banana for $6.2 million
He ate it,
has
eh?
officially eaten the banana.
Yeah.
He has officially chowed down on the banana. Chinese-born Justin Sun peeled off the duct tape and enjoyed the banana in a press conference held in the Peninsula, Hong Kong, on one of the city's priciest hotels in the popular shopping district of Sim Sa Sui. God damn, I probably pronounced that wrong. It tastes much better than other bananas. Indeed, quite good.
I'll be like,
what a joke.
I was very angry when it was purchased and it was evaluated to be worth millions. I've calmed down since.
Yeah.
I've since realized I don't actually care about him eating the banana or buying it. What makes me the most angry is the fact that it was evaluated at such a high level. Because I could do that right now. Although I don't actually have duct tape or a banana, but I could go and get those things and I could go and do it and I could make millions of dollars. Just saying.
Well, no, it's been done. You'd have to come up with something else.
A mandarin.
Here's a novel idea. And if any of our fans or listeners take this away and make millions of dollars, feel free to make a donation to the podcast. But you take an apple and you put it in front of a canvas and you shoot that apple with an arrow. And so the arrow is then stuck through the apple and into the canvas. And you name the artwork Robin Hood or Sherwood Forest or something along those lines, and it speaks volumes. It is a historical piece. It's a think piece. It's a period piece. It is it is a reflection of how we look to the past in order to source art from those times. You can attach whatever meaning you want to it, but I feel like if you were to take this and replicate it in any way, you could probably pretty safely, instead of the banana and duct tape, you replace that with an apple and an arrow. Bob's your uncle. You've got bajillions of dollars in the bank account. So,
Well,
look, if someone's hearing this and they want to give it a go, by all means, just make sure you make that check out to cash because your boy doesn't want to pay no taxes.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, speaking of taxes, so our boy Ron Weasley, old Rupert Grint, has been slapped with a $1 million tax bill, or £2.6 million tax bill. Because your boy wasn't paying his taxes off that Harry Potter money.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, what's his net worth? I mean, 2.6 million squid's probably nothing to the boy, right?
Well, I'd say that I'd say the Harry Potter cast would be very much like the Friends cast in the fact that they will continue to get residuals for as long as they live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. All right, a few omissions to make. Harry Potter started to pay 1.8 million pounds after losing tax lawsuit, but he is also worth 50 million US dollars. So I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be just fine. Obviously, I can't think of him being in anything half decent since Harry Potter.
I mean, he was in that Ed Sheeran music video, which was pretty good.
Yeah, but that's not really like an acting role, is it? Like, if we're being realistic,
I reckon it was. It was like he was impersonating Ed Sheeran. I'd give it to him. I'd give it to him. Because because who else would also be as famous and look like Ed Sheeran? Because they're both proper ginger dudes. So who else?
Yeah, I get that, but it's also like
once in a lifetime role.
I mean, it's a 7.1 star rated on IMDb, and it's in his credits. So
yeah,
I mean, it's obviously there. There's obviously some other bits and pieces that they obviously wrote but didn't release. So Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. It's an amusement ride at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in the Island of Adventure Park, Orlando, Florida. So there's a bit roll there.
Yeah, I didn't go to that.
But yeah, the amount of residuals you'd get. He was in Thunderpants, like around the time of the Harry Potter and between the first and second Harry Potter movie, he was in that terrible movie Thunderpants, where the astronaut is there's a child astronaut and his suit is powered by farts.
I haven't seen
something. It's
that sounds hilarious.
Whatever it was terrible.
Oh.
It was the I'm trying to liken it to something. It's like Spy Kids if Spy Kids was complete and utter shit. Which, I mean, to be fair, it probably was retrospectively, but like it's not that bad from memory. But yeah, after Harry Potter, it was just a lot of bit rolls, an Ed Sheeran music video. Fuck all, really. Like, if you look at it in the grand scheme, it's really not much. Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. He was in one episode of that. Snaps all around. Yeah, not great. Anyway, a couple of other bits and pieces here. I've got 3,000 fake Gibson guitars seized at Los Angeles airport. Fake Gibsons, or Fibsons, as we call them in the music industry.
In the biz.
But in the biz. But there's, so it wasn't just Gibsons. Obviously, there's a couple of Gretches here as well. Some very, very expensive guitars. Had they been authentic, the collection would have been worth 18 million US dollars.
That's not a bad haul.
Yeah, but they are counterfeit guitars. And look, I've been snapped in the past. I've definitely bought my fair share of fake guitars. Some of them knowingly, some of them unknowingly. I've been rolled a couple of times. I thought I was buying a genuine Diamond, which was a fantastic electric guitar back in its day. Turns out that I hadn't bought a Diamond. I had bought a Yamaha that had their neck swapped over on it. So, yeah, I got rolled.
Mad
I got rolled
unfortunate.
pretty hard on that one.
Mad unfortunate.
Yeah, mad unfortunate. But, we move. But yeah, so I mean, how you would get 3,000 guitars through an airport, I wouldn't have a clue. But like, all power to them for trying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone's got to do it.
It's like
The world's
it's like
oldest
the guy
man.
that's like the guy that ate like 400 McNuggets and died. So now we know the limit of how many McNuggets we have. That guy, we now know the limit as to how many counterfeit Fibson guitars we can try and import. So I mean, he's doing the Lord's work.
2,999 before you get snapped.
He's doing the Lord's work.
He is doing the Lord's work. How many Fibsons can you fit in your luggage before someone arrests you?
Exactly. It could have been like a speed running challenge. Like any percent completion, importing fake Gibson guitars.
What do you reckon is the quickest way to get arrested? If you
way.
were to speed run getting arrested, how would you go about it?
I'd probably just shout some profanities and cause a scene, and then I would assault the police officers.
Okay, so
Or
let's
I would
put
just
some
go up and assault
parameters
a
on
police
this.
officer, because then
Yeah. See, that's the easy way out.
obviously
So there's
we're
two
not going
parameters
to
on
do
this.
that, and we don't.
No, of course not. This is for
promote
entertainment
violence
purposes only.
towards the police force of this country or to anyone in particular.
No. So let's put some parameters on it for a start. You can't assault anybody,
Right.
and you also can't expose yourself in public.
Okay. That was my second guess.
So you can't do either of those things, but you need to get arrested in the quickest way possible.
Okay, I would try and. I'd probably commit some sort of robbery.
Actually, yeah, that's a really good shout. You'd probably just go straight for the robbery.
Because you'd have to make it obvious, but not so obvious that you get that. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen a video of this guy with a water gun that tries to rob like a pawn shop, and it just doesn't work. So it'd have to be a bit better than that. Yeah, so probably robbery, or I would commit arson. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, you probably just wouldn't want to hurt anybody at the same time.
No.
If the building was abandoned,
it'd be like I would light a bonfire in an area that is prohibited from. It'd be like, it'd be prohibited from having bonfires, because then you'd get some Karen that's out being like, they're lighting fires, and then the cops would come, and we have 10 minutes left on this Zoom call. But yeah, I would say robbery, or robbery is probably the best way forward. Obviously, I mean, not the best way forward. That's a pretty out there statement, out of context. But given the hypothetical, robbery.
Yeah, I'd probably personally go for impersonating an officer, or probably stealing a cop car. I feel like stealing a cop car would get you arrested pretty quick. Plus, they're already on site ready to arrest you in the first place. So doing something near the police would be a really good way to speed run that.
I reckon
stealing a cop car, I imagine.
I reckon
that's pretty fast.
That's in similar vein to assaulting a police officer, because they're in the direct vicinity, so you're going to get done straight away. It has to be the quickest way to get arrested without involving the police directly.
Maybe I just start smashing my own car up. Like, making a scene. I'm not destroying anyone else's property except mine. And I'm not assaulting anybody. Yeah, maybe I just drive my car into the middle of the town, and then just start wailing on my car. pretty good chance I'm going to get arrested there.
You could just you could just try and have a succulent Chinese meal, because then you'll for sure get arrested straight away.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it has to be a succulent Chinese meal. It can't be any other kind of meal.
Chinese meal. No, that's right. And then, get your hand off my penis.
Yeah.
This man has got me by the penis, people.
Yeah.
What a video.
R.I.P. to that dude.
R.I.P. to that man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Another big R.I.P. this week, John Alfred Tenniswood. Do you know who John Alfred Tenniswood is?
Tenniswood?
Tenniswood. This man was the oldest man in the world at 112. He was born in 1912 in Liverpool, and he passed away late last week at the age of 112. So RIP to that man. He's got a Guinness World Records certificate, and he looked happy right up until the last.
Damn.
When asked about his longevity, he just said pure luck, and absolutely good on him.
And having the oldest name possible. Tenniswood? Jesus.
Yep. Tenniswood. His direct quote said, "You either live long or you live short, and you can't do much about it." He was a retired accountant and a great-grandfather. If there was any secret to it, he said moderation was the key to a healthy life. He never smoked, rarely drank, and followed no special diet apart from having fish and chips every Friday. If you drink too much or eat too much, or you walk too much, if you do too much of anything, you're going to suffer eventually.
Okay.
Tenniswood was born a few months after the sinking of the Titanic. He lived through 2 world wars and served in the British Army Pay Corps in World War II.
Okay, so he did very little, but lived long enough to be the oldest person. Okay.
Yeah, so at 111, he claimed the record after Juan Vicente Perez of Venezuela died at 114. So once you die and you're the oldest man in the world, it goes to the next oldest man in the world, who just so happened to be 3 years his junior at the time. The Guinness World Records did not name who would replace Tenniswood as the new record holder. He is survived by his daughter Susan, 4 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. His wife of 44 years, Blodwyn, that was her name, Blodwyn Tenniswood.
Not Blodders.
Blodders. She died in 1986.
Ooh.
Jesus Christ. So this man has been without tail of any description. That's 38 years.
Here's my question.
38 years.
So he would have been
of jacking it.
So he would have been, that was going to be my question. He would have been in his late 70s, early 80s when she passed. So
yeah, and then not only did he have to suffer another 30 or 40 years.
Do you actually reckon that he was firing off the knuckle children at that age?
He's got to be shooting dust, but he's got to be doing it, right? Like it could be last call, and I'm staring down the barrel of death, regardless of what form it comes in. I'm still smashing one out.
Yeah, that's why many men's heroes is that dude that died in the eruption at Pompeii, because his last thought was like, I just got to get one out real quick. So yeah. R.I.P. to that dude.
Vesuvius is not the only thing that's going to bust today.
Yeah. R.I.P. to that dude as well, actually. I feel like that should be made into a statue, but that's just me.
Yeah, well. So when Tenniswood turned 112 in August, he said he was taking it in stride like everything else he did. I don't feel that age. I don't get excited over it. That's probably why I've lived as long as I've lived.
Bro never got a PS5
the world's
for his
oldest
birthday.
Woman. Oh, bro, absolutely slaps. He's probably got carpal tunnel in every single bone in his hands.
Yeah, probably.
The world's oldest living woman and oldest living person is Japan's 116-year-old Tomiko Ituka. I don't know if she's still alive or dead. The article does not say. But big RIP to John Alfred Tenniswood. That is one hell of an innings. 112. I mean, good on you, champion. You know, it's...
Yeah.
I mean, you're living this long in Liverpool of all places. I think you're doing yourself and your family proud. So well done.
Yeah.
Bit of dangerous news. I hope there's. I really hope there's. Like parachutes attached to these, but in the spirit of Thanksgiving, obviously Alaska, which is still technically US, regardless of how attached it is to Canada. There were pilots dropping off turkeys, dead ones, for Thanksgiving dinner over Anchorage, Alaska.
Thank you for clarifying that they were dead. I was curious.
Just in case.
Yeah.
So for the third year straight, a resident named Esther Kime has been flying low and slow in a plane over small rural parts of south central Alaska, dropping frozen turkeys to those who simply can't run out to the grocery store. Alaska is mostly wilderness, with only 20% of it accessible by road. In winter, many who live in remote areas rely on small planes or snowmobiles to travel any distance that frozen rivers can act as makeshift roads. You have to ask yourself, right? It cannot be that good in Anchorage, Alaska, if every single winter the entire nation just goes, fuck it, I can't go anywhere, probably going to starve to death. Like, it doesn't make sense to me at all.
I kind of fuck with it personally. I think I reckon those are the kind of people that just don't want anything to do with anyone else apart from their loved ones. And they just want to live a chill life. I fuck with that heavily, actually. Because like, obviously out there's nothing to do, right? Which is the dream of mine personally, just to be doing as little as possible. But yeah, no, I commend it. I reckon it goes hard, and I hope that they had a good Thanksgiving, if they were able to cook it, because it's still pretty frozen out in Alaska, probably this time of year as well. So it would have taken a bit longer to defrost. But yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, like, my thing would be, like I said right at the start, I hope there's parachutes attached, because I cannot imagine getting hit by a frozen turkey from any altitude is probably not going to kill you. I feel like there's going to be at least a concussion there, or potentially some blunt force trauma. We also
have less than a minute in the Zoom call. I've decided I should probably start telling you, rather than you getting cut off and then us having to awkwardly continue what we were talking about. So there is less than a minute still, because it doesn't count me down from a minute. It just says less than a minute. So bets on when I'm going to say 20 seconds until the call ends. What do you reckon?
I'm just going to say that, ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back. Oosh. 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 Oosh.
And we're back.
And we're back.
You actually timed that really well, because as soon as you said we'll be right back, the call ended, so hats off.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So, back into it. Obviously, we are almost 3 weeks out from Christmas. When you hear this episode, we will be 3 weeks out from Christmas, because we are Wednesday podcasters. And anyone that knows anything about me, BB Malloy or otherwise, or has been following me on social media for a little while, knows how much I love Christmas. Louis, you will know, obviously being my younger brother, how much I love Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've never been able to escape. I just love it. And the one thing I love most about Christmas is Christmas movies. I love the together times with family and all the blah blah bullshit, but one of my favorite things is sitting down, tucking into a nice bowl of popcorn while I sit there and watch a beloved Christmas tale. So my favorite Christmas movie of all time, regardless of what form it comes in. So I don't care if it's Michael Kane or Rowan Atkinson or Jim Carrey. My favorite Christmas movie in any branch is A Christmas Carol. Whether it be a Muppet Christmas Carol, the weirdly Uncanny Valley animated one that Jim Carrey did, or Blackadder's Christmas Carol, even Mickey Mouse's Christmas Carol. I couldn't give a shit. I just love that story. And it's Charles Dickens absolutely fucking nailed it, and everyone else should have stopped trying after that, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
But if life imitates art, a vandal in the English countryside may be haunted by the ghost of Christmas yet to come for the rest of his life. Some prick in Shrewsbury has destroyed the Ebenezer Scrooge grave that was used in 1984 in the adaptation of A Christmas Carol, which became a bit of a tourist attraction. So someone has come along and just absolutely smashed it up. It's completely done and dusted.
Yeah.
There's not really much to be seen now other than broken bits of gravestone, apparently. Highly disrespectful. Obviously one of dozens of adaptations of Charles Dickens' classic. This one starred George C. Scott as the cold-hearted curmudgeon.
Right now.
After going to sleep on Christmas Eve, Scrooge is visited by the ghosts of blah, blah, blah. Everybody knows the story. So, if you are the perpetrator and you're listening, firstly, follow us on Spotify and subscribe.
Yeah.
Secondly, honestly, go and fuck yourself. This is one of those things that makes me uncomfortably mad. And the reason being is because how dare you? How dare you, sir? I'm disgusted in this sort of behavior, not just because it's Ebenezer Scrooge's tombstone, and obviously we know our boy turned things around and became a little bit more Christmas aligned, let's say, but this is also a movie prop. It's a part of history. I don't know. This is right up there with that time that Kurt Russell destroyed a Stradivarius guitar that was worth something in the realm of like $4 or $5 million.
Right.
Did you hear about that?
No.
So, one of Quentin Tarantino's least successful movies, The Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
There is a scene where one of the criminals that's hanging out in the bar is sitting there playing a guitar, and they were supposed to swap out the guitar for a prop, and it was on loan from the Smithsonian. Kurt Russell didn't wait for it to be swapped out, got caught up in the moment, and ended up destroying this 120-year-old Stradivarius guitar. Said to be worth somewhere in the realm of, I think it was $2 million or something like that. It's priceless, essentially. Like you wouldn't be able to put a number on it. It's just, yeah.
2 words.
That and the Library of Alexandria, just things I can't control that make me uncomfortably mad when people destroy things.
2 words. Mad unforge. That's
mad unforge.
That's my input. Oh, it's like when the Mongols, they basically began to invade Europe, and there was a lot of libraries that held a lot of text from thousands of years ago, and they burned it all down. So we only have a very limited amount of knowledge on actually what happened thousands of years ago. So it's very
that's the Library of Alexandria. That's what I was just talking
there
about.
You go. Those damn Mongols.
Yeah, that still haunts a lot of historians to this day. So, actually, let me get some proper facts on that. So, it is a 145-year-old Martin acoustic. It wasn't a Stradivarius. My apologies. It was an 1870s parlor guitar on loan direct from the Martin Museum, filming while filming The Hateful Eight. So, that's got to hurt, man. That's got to hurt a lot, and it's one of those things that you can't really control. Like it's unfortunately shit happens, but it's that's pretty hefty. Pretty hefty. Oh, it's not even okay. The company was financially compensated for the guitar, but the acoustic was reportedly only insured for what the museum paid for it. Most outlets put this at $40,000. Even so, upon inspection of the pieces, we realized the guitar was beyond fixing. It's destroyed. Yeah, which I mean, he literally smashed it against a wall. So yeah, probably. But yeah, I think it'd be worth a lot more than 40 grand. That's a priceless heirloom guitar. Like that's something that we'll never see in our lifetimes again. The
Yeah.
fact that they even let it on set and this lady was allowed to play it, she should be absolutely honored. You know, like that's massive. But yeah, oh, it hurts. It hurts my tummy. Makes me feel a little bit yucky inside.
Well, we just have to wait for time travel to exist, and we'll be all good.
I don't know if time travel was ever invented, it wouldn't have happened in the first place.
We'll just have to wait and see. I don't know. I reckon.
But that's the paradox, right? Like that's
Well, yeah.
you wouldn't be able to travel into the future anyway.
Well, I mean, like you can't.
Into the past,
Yeah,
rather. I feel like
a lot of people travel into the future. I mean, we're doing it right now, technically.
yeah.
But yeah, so I mean,
Well, because our particular solar system is moving at the rate of a funnel, right? Like it's hurtling through space, the entire solar system, and we are orbiting around a star that is constantly moving. So it's moving in a vortex-like shape. The further we get away from the sun, the worse it's going to get. Obviously, our sun's going to die eventually. 1 point something billion years from now, none of us are going to be around. Potentially, not even humans are going to be around. But we'll eventually move far enough away from the sun that the sun's not even going to be helpful to us anyway. But we are all hurtling through space. So, in theory, because you would have to move time and space in order to travel through time, if you were to somehow successfully travel back in time, you would find yourself in another part of the universe with no oxygen, potentially millions of miles away from the Earth itself, because where that timestamp was is back, miles and miles, because the Earth is still traveling at an incredible rate. So,
but you know why
I
that
don't
would
think
happen?
you'd be able to travel backwards.
You know why that would
What's
happen
that?
is because the DeLorean didn't have the correct input on which time to go back to. That's why the dock ended up in 1885 rather than 1985. That's why he went back to the
Honestly,
Wild
I feel
West.
like the flux capacitor needed fixing as well. That's probably a big thing.
I mean, the bro managed to power it with ice cubes that he invented. He invented ice cubes just to power up his DeLorean. And then he
No,
had...
the ice cubes were literally just for a drink.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's right. Because he was on the train tracks pulling it with... He was pulling it with a horse initially, and then he had a train that had like different colored dye that would signal what speed to get it up to.
Yeah. So wood, it wasn't wood, it was some sort of special ignition, but they chuck it into the train and then the train goes at different speeds, and obviously the dye would say what speed they were going at. They had to reach 88 miles per hour and launch the train into Clayton Ravine, but Doc chose to save his lady, and then ended up being called Eastwood Ravine because...
No, it was Clint Eastwood, wasn't
obviously,
it? They gave it the full
that's
Clint
what he called
Eastwood,
himself. It was... so he called himself Clint Eastwood, and then obviously the DeLorean makes it back to 1985 or 1987 by that stage.
And Flea challenges him to a drag race.
Yeah, exactly. Nails his character, challenges him to a drag race.
Did you know
and our boy has grown.
that Flea voiced he voiced the little dude from the Thornberrys, the Wild Thornberrys?
Bro, that is one of the first pop culture facts anyone learns. That
Man,
Flea
I
was
didn't
the
know
voice
that.
of
I didn't
Donnie
know
from
that
the Wild
till like
Thornberrys.
a few months ago. I actually had no
No
idea.
way, bro. That's been in the zeitgeist for time.
Oh, true.
Yeah. It's good though. This is the kind of stuff that like I've been weirdly like interested in for years and years. That I'm glad people are starting to sort of come into the oh my god. Sorry, I've just looked up another couple of stories here, and it's...
Oh yeah, well here's a
graphic.
bit of news. Here's a bit of news. Here's some words in a row. Hang on. So, it's a bit of political news. Joe Biden or as the people on Sidewalk NYC say, Joe Byron, has pardoned his son for after he was charged with federal gun and crime laws. Something that
Tax evasion as well.
something that Joe Biden stated he wouldn't do and that he pledged he wouldn't do was to pardon his son and let his son go through the legal system properly. But now that Joe Biden's about to not be the president anymore, and probably because he's too old and didn't even know he was doing it at the time, he decided to pardon his son, so now old Hunter Biden gets away with it again. And he's a scumbag. He slept with his dead brother's wife. Like, scumbag, you know? And then he, like, just the denial of, like, yeah, I didn't do any of it, blah, blah, blah. It's like, we have proof, we have evidence, there is records of you doing this, and you slept with your dead brother's wife. But anyway, that was my piece of news.
2 words, mad unforge.
Mad unforge for for Joe Biden's remaining months as the president. Yeah.
Sleepy Joseph.
Yeah. What do you like more, Sleepy Joe or Crooked Joe? Crooked Joe, Sleepy Joe. Yeah. I still remember that actually when Joe Biden dropped out of the race and Kamala Harris got promoted to the Democratic nominee, and Donald Trump was like, now we have to start all over again. I have to come up with new insults. Is she a black person or is she an Indian person? Like, he got fully upset that he had to figure out new shit to say, like lies to make up for this woman.
Yeah, I mean, like, to not to his credit by any means, but she did change her skin a lot of times when it came to who she was addressing. So when she spoke to Hispanic people, she came across with more of a Hispanic swing in her voice to try and get people to relate to her a little bit more. She told people at one stage she was Indian. She's told people at one stage she was part Samoan. Like, it's... Yeah. So that's kind of where that comes from. But, yeah, I don't know... American politics for me has always been a very confusing landscape because not only is it none of my business, and it would never will be, thankfully. It's one of those, like, it's just America doing American shit.
Yeah, that's why it's really
the
interesting,
time.
because it is so far, like, it is just so incredibly interesting to read and to listen to what they used to say. Like, Ronald Reagan was a terrible person. He had 2 terms. He ran guns to Iran for the Iran-Contra affair, and then he lied about it. He got his one of his generals, Ollie North, to burn and shred all the evidence. He also spread lies about... I'm pretty sure he spread lies about, obviously, like the Democrats and females and all that sort of stuff. Donald Trump is very much Ronald Reagan today.
Yeah,
because like Ronald Reagan, like he always talked about Reaganomics and bringing the country back up, but there was only ever tax relief and better policies for the 1%, for the rich, which is exactly what Donald Trump did and is going to do because it benefits him. So that's exactly what Reagan did, and Reagan also opposed like abortion rights and women's rights and all that sort of carry on. Which I just confuses me so much. It's because these people have wives and children, daughters. Why don't they want to give their own daughters or their wives the rights to their own body? You know, that just, to me, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I think it's just a bit shit. I could go on.
it is a bit shit. Like,
Yeah.
reproductive rights should be that of the person who is reproducing. Like, it's
Yeah.
not up to the state or whatever country to tell women what they can and cannot do with their bodies, their reproductive organs or otherwise. Like, in the same way that something like suicide is illegal, that's it might be illegal, but it's not fuck all you can do about it if someone makes it all the way through.
Yeah.
It's Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. The human condition is quite strange. Obviously, there's 44 inalienable human rights that are still ignored to this day by certain countries, even first world countries. So it's not that America's special in any way. It's just the loudest country. Like,
Yeah,
there's tons of countries in Africa where there's still laws that abide slavery. There's still, laws that abide by the buying and selling of women and other bits and pieces like that. It's, like the world is a really fucked place.
yeah. Like with America, I find it really interesting that Americans will always say this is the best country on earth, and it's like the only reason you say you're the best country on earth is because you're the loudest, but you also think you're the only country on earth. It's like,
Yeah, I've also met a lot of Americans, especially expats, who believe the exact opposite. Like,
yeah, but they're like
my wonderful
they're patriots, right? So they're like those are people that have fought for their country, but also realize there are other countries with people fighting for those countries. So they
yeah,
can
but
understand
there's
that the
others
world
that have
is,
moved away.
yeah, they can understand
Yeah,
the
there's
world as
others
a
that have moved
place.
away and not. Yeah, no, I fully understand that, but there's like I know of people that have moved away and not given a shit about what happens. Like my beloved guitarist Brian, when asked about
What a fantastic
how he
human
thought
being
the
Brian
election
is.
went.
Can we just give a quick shout out to
Oh, dude,
Brian?
big quick shout out to Brian. I love that man so very much. He, when asked about how he thought the election went, he just tells people America got exactly what it deserved.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that's the best way the best way that anyone could have put it. To be completely honest, it's just not. It's not worth the
Yeah.
aggravation.
There was a theory that was going around. This is around the Trump camp, though, like his supporters. Someone was saying Trump's actually a time traveler, and he's come back in time to win the election. So, and he did. So he must be a time traveler. So, I mean, shit, we're all fucked.
Yeah, we are. We're all cooked.
Yeah.
To end on some positive, well, semi-positive news. We are so the headline says Americans upset about the Trump win offered €1 houses an Italian village of a lowlie. And there's some gorgeous photos of this absolutely beautifully picturesque Italian city. It is on the island of Sardinia, selling some dilapidated properties for the price of an espresso in an effort to boost its flagging population. I feel like there's another way to pronounce that, but it's a population on the decline anyway. So essentially, it's an hour's drive away to the beach. There's these beautiful little cafes and other bits and pieces, and you just for just over $1, you can get yourself a dilapidated little three bed 2-bath in Sardinia. So I mean,
Yeah.
obviously they're fast tracking Americans as like a PR stunt or whatever, but seriously, after looking at these pictures, I might retire here, man.
I don't have a euro.
Like this is
So
yeah, but I
I'm
mean we could
screwed.
get a euro.
Yeah, true.
We could get a single euro.
Yeah, true.
It's like you just have to buy it and fix it up while you live in it. But I'm sure you could buy it and then stay in like a Airbnb or a hotel with your retirement money and fix up your little fixer-upper. I'd love that. Like the Mediterranean diet, dude, is just so clean.
Yeah.
And, that there's only a handful of blue zones in the world. And blue zones, when it comes to living, are where people are more likely to live over the age of 100.
I'm assuming Sardinia
And
is one of those blue zones.
it is. I don't know if Sardinia particularly is one of the blue zones, but I know
Italy.
there are places in Italy that are blue zones. Yeah. Hold on, let me see where the blue zones are, because there was a very, very cool documentary about living over the age of 100 on Netflix. Oh my god, it is Sardinia. What a call. Okay, so Loma Linda in California, Nicoya in Costa Rica, Sardinia, Italy, Ikaria, Greece, and Okinawa, Japan. So there's 5 blue zones where people are more likely to live over the age of 100. And I can obviously understand Sardinia and Ikaria. The Mediterranean diet is super clean. It's delicious food, and it's the climate as well. These people are very close to the equator. You'll notice that all of the blue zones are very close to the equator, where it's very inclement. It's hardly ever very cold, and it's hardly ever very hot. It's just lovely. It just seems to be that
that was Goldilocks. It's never too warm. It's never too cold. It's just right.
Oh, bro, absolutely, bro. Call me fucking Goldilocks if you want to. This is one of those things that, I'm a person who deals with existential crises a lot. I don't want to die. Not yet. Not for a very long time if I can help it. And if this is something that's going to help me to live longer, to live in one of these blue zones, boy howdy, am I moving to Sardinia? You know what I mean? Like, I've dealt with a lot of stress in my early life, and it's definitely taken its toll on my body. I'm a very sore and feebled man, and who's almost in his 30s. And the stress levels I've managed to achieve for myself, the blood pressure I've managed to put myself under, I'm surprised I haven't fucking passed away already. So for me, it's like, I mean, in Sardinia, specifically Ogliastra is considered home to some of the oldest human beings worldwide. These people live in mountains and they live off the land. Their favorite beverage is red wine. What else do you need?
I'm more
you know
of a
what I
rosé
mean? Like, you've got a
guy.
Mediterranean diet, but that's a brand of it. You could make a very healthy rosé, I'm sure. Like, this is, like the Mediterranean diet and red wine. You've got beautiful views. You're an hour to the beach. You've got you're a couple of hours flight from anywhere in Europe.
Yeah,
it's just perfect. It's just everything and more. Like, my dream has always been to live on the Amalfi Coast because it's so gorgeous, and obviously the Mediterranean diet being such a big one as well. I just love it so very much, and that's something I'm going to work towards, I think.
Yeah, for me, I've always wanted. Italy for me has always been like the most beautiful country, I think. Part of that because I played a lot of Assassin's Creed back in the day, and it just looks fucking boss. But also just based on like the history, the language, the people, the architecture. It's just like it's. To me, it seems like a country with just kind of, I guess, beauty all around.
Yeah, I am 100% in that boat with you. I cannot wait until you and I are sitting at a cafe in Florence, having a delicious meal, like in a picturesque city.
Yeah.
Just living our best lives, bro. Just being in that sense of like, there's no stress, there's no responsibilities. It's just me and the bro hanging out and doing our thing.
Just chilling.
Like, it's just, and I'm very much looking forward to that, man. It's going to be huge.
It's going to be good, dude. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right, so finishing up on that, I hope all of our listeners out there manage to make their way to a blue zone one day and live their longest and best possible life. And the entire time, you can bet that every Wednesday, for the most part, the Oosh Bros will be pumping out a podcast every Wednesday.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to sign off as I always do, by wishing you the rest of your week to a wonderful Oosh.
Arrivederci. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, Oosh. Italian Oosh. I don't know how to say Oosh in Italian, but
Italian Oosh.
I'm just assuming it's Oosh.
Yeah.
Marvelous. Good. Arrivederci then.
Italian Oosh.
Italian Oosh.